Fortress friends, this is Miss Stacy, and today we're going to learn how to make a sock puppet. So you've already gotten your kit, and it has a sock and some felt and another piece of felt with a needle in it and some buttons and some string and some yarn that we're going to use for a hair. And then also you should have at home already, because we gave it to you before, a pair of scissors, and you're going to need a pen or a marker. So the first thing you're going to do is get your sock and put your hand in it. And it's a really big sock, so it might have to go way up on your arm. So here's the heel part, and it goes on top. And then you're gonna get your fingers all the way to the tip toe part of the sock. And then you're gonna use your thumb and stick it out. Here's my thumb, because that's gonna be the bottom part of your puppet's mouth. And then the top part is where all of your fingers are. So when you close it, it can talk like a puppet. It kind of looks like Kermit the Frog a little bit. So this is Mr. Chris's puppet, and we have already put this on his hand. So on the other side, you can see where we marked where he wants his puppet's eyes to go. So when it's closed, when his mouth is closed, you can see where his eyes are going to go. So I just used a pen. We decided where we wanted those eyes to go, and we made a dot in each place. So when I take the puppet off of my hand, I can know where I want those eyes to be sewed on. So that's the first thing you're going to do. And then when you're ready to sew on the button, of course you have to take your sock off your hand and get ready to sew with your needle. And you might need your mom's help, especially if you're second grade or below. You probably want your mom's help, or your dad, or your granny, or your auntie, or your big sister, because these needles are sharp, so you have to be really careful. Okay, the first thing we're going to learn how to do is thread our needle. So you have a needle, and it's in a piece of felt just like this. So some of you guys have a big eye of your needle, just like I do. See this, the hole that you see in your needle? That's called the eye of your needle, and that's where the thread goes. Mine is really big. Some of yours are a little bit smaller. So if you're lucky, you have a big one, and if you're a little bit unlucky, you might have a smaller one, but that's not going to be a problem. Also, you know, needles are sharp on the end. So when you're not using your needle, make sure you put it back in your felt so it doesn't get dropped on the floor, or so your baby sister doesn't get a hold of it, because it's dangerous. It's very sharp. Okay, so we're gonna get a piece of string. So take your string and find the end of it. And it might be inside a little bit, or it might be on the outside. You just have to kind of look around for it. I do not see the end of mine anywhere. There it is. I just popped it out. So pull it gently, and you just need about this much, not a whole ton, just a little, maybe about 12 inches of string, and then you're going to cut it off. So for me, I can use the whole thick string because I have a big eye on my needle. But if you have a smaller eye, you might want to separate yours into a smaller string. So you can do that just by pulling it apart. There's actually 6 pieces of string that are all twisted together to make this big one. So I'm just going to pull 2 of them out and just gently pull it apart until now I have 2 pieces of string. One of them's thicker and one of them's thinner. So now I'm going to thread my needle by putting my string through the eye of my needle. Whoops, I'm having a hard time seeing where to stick it. Okay, so now it's in. So now I have a needle. Whoops, I almost dropped it on my string, and I'm going to pull it so that the string is the same length on both sides, so it's even. Okay, and now I'm going to tie a knot in the end. You just loop a circle around See how I'm making a circle with my string? And then I will tie it into a knot, and I'm gonna roll my knot down my string a little bit so it's closer to the bottom. So now I have a good strong knot in my string and I can sew a button. So first I'm gonna show you how to sew a button on before we do it on our sock. So I'm just gonna use my piece of felt. So this button has 4 holes, and I think most of the buttons that you guys have 4 holes. So you're gonna go poke your needle up through and pull until it's tight. So there's the knot on the other side. You don't want to yank it because it'll yank a hole right through your sock or through your fabric. So just pull it until you can feel that it's stuck. And then you're going to put your needle through one of the holes in your button, and then pull it until the button is flat against your fabric. Okay? Now I'm going to go across, not straight across, but across at an angle diagonally to another hole in the button and go down and pull it through. And now I'm going to come back up again from the bottom into another hole that doesn't have thread yet and pull it, and then I'm going to go down into the one that's diagonal from that. Okay? So now I have put an X with thread on my button, and it is sewed on. So you can do that 5 or 6 times and get a lot of string going. And then on the back, you are going to tie another knot. Just like if you were tying a knot in your shoelace. Okay, and I'm going to pull it twice. I'm going to do 2 knots so it won't come apart. And then I'm going to trim my string. And now I have a button sewed on good to my fabric. And next we're going to do it on a sock, and that gets a little bit more complicated. Okay, now we're going to sew our button eyes onto our sock puppet. So when you have such a long sock as this, it's hard to get your needle inside the sock. So we're going to scrunch it up real tight so that we don't have as far we have to go. But I need someone to hold this open for me so I can sew inside of it. Mr. Chris, will you hold my sock open for me?
Sure.
So I already have my needle, and it has its thread, and I've already tied a knot in the end of my thread, so it's ready to go. And we're gonna choose this button, and we're gonna put it on that eye. So I need to go inside the sock with my needle and be careful not to poke my friend. And then I'm gonna poke until my needle is where the eye is. There it is. See how my needle's coming right through my eye? And I'm gonna pull it until it stops coming. And then I'm gonna, on the back side, the bottom of my button, I'm gonna put my needle through one of the holes. Whoops. I'm gonna try again until it comes all the way down to the sock, and then I'm gonna hold the button and go down into another hole and then pull it through the sock. Now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hunt for a hole. Oh, I found one. But you know what? It's in a hole I already came through, so let me try again. I'm gonna try to find this one over here. Ah, it worked. So now it's through the hole that didn't have thread, and I'm gonna go diagonally again across to the other hole that doesn't have thread and stick it through the sock. And you can do that a few times. I'm just gonna do it once. And then I'm going to tie a knot in my thread on the back of my button. And mine's hard because I left my string too short. Yours will be easier because hopefully you will leave a longer string. I'll use my needle to go through and tie a knot just like in a shoestring, and pull it tight so it won't come apart. And then I'm going to trim my thread. And now, Mr. Chris, show them you have one eye. And it's not going to come off because it's sewed on good. And you're just going to do that again for your other eye too. And remember to go crisscross applesauce when you sew your button on. Okay, now we're gonna sew our hair on top of our puppet. So Mr. Chris has his hand in his puppet and he decided that he wants the hair right here. So we're gonna find the middle of his hair and I'm gonna make a dot where we wanna sew it, just like we did for the eyes. So right there, I made a dot for where we're gonna sew his hair on. So let's scrunch up our puppet again, Mr. Chris, so we can get our needle inside. Okay, and again, I'm gonna go inside the puppet and find my dot with my needle and come up through the dot. And now I'm gonna put my hair, this is some crazy hair, Mr. Chris, it's crazier than your hair. Ha 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 ha, that was funny. And then I'm gonna go down through my hole again and make it really tight so my hair won't fall off. And then I'm gonna hold my hair with that finger and I'm gonna go back close to where I went the first time. And I'm gonna pull it up and pull it tight, and then I'm gonna go around the hair again and go back down. Then I'm gonna do it again. And keep coming up through my hair. And do it one more time and go around the hair again so it will get nice and tight. Okay. And now I'm going to tie my knot again. And again, I made my string too short on the end. Makes it harder to tie a knot. Whoops. You know what else? Well, no, we'll do it the right way. Tie the knot and tie it tight. Whoops, did I poke you? I'm sorry. Tie it tight and then trim it off. Now he has hair and it's not going to come off because it's sewed on. Awesome. It's going to be crazy hair. It'll get in his eyes all the time, won't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're all done with the hair. Okay, so here's Mr. Chris's puppet already. And he's all sewn. Do you want to see his mouth? Oh, so you can draw inside his mouth if you want to. Can he bite? Oh, he can bite. Can he talk? Does he have? Oh, he has a voice. Oh, can he make faces? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he can make faces. So have fun making your puppets and we'll see you soon.
Bye.